I'm going to talk about the pain. Let me tell you about the Let me tell you about the pain. Okay? So you're taking notes. I want you to do this. I want you to draw a pyramid. Yes? Y'all know a pyramid? At the bottom of the pyramid, you have the base. Actually, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Alright? That's the base of the pyramid. Y'all know this? And at the base, we'll call it the average. Okay? This is your average person. You know, nice person, works hard, 9 to 5, has 2.3 kids, 2 cars, a mortgage, right? Goes to church on Sundays maybe. Definitely for Easter. Christmas. Right? So this is average. Now, I'm going to use Dr. V as an example. So I'm an average dude growing up in East Texas, yes? And then I decided I wanted to be a surgeon growing up. So what does that mean I have to do after graduating high school? This is college. Now why is it above average? Because not everyone goes to college. And you have to test to get into college. And I went to a very good school. I had really high SAT scores and I had straight A's and all sorts of shit like that. Right? So then I go to college, but after college, I have to do what? Not middle school. Did you say middle school? Oh, medical school, yes. So med school. Now why is it above college? Because not everyone who goes to college does what? They're not dumb enough to go to med school. They're not crazy enough. Now listen, watch this. Just because you got into college, what happens to some people in college? They drop out. You got it? So I did well in college, drank too much and all that good stuff. Took my test, did well, got into med school. Now, what happens in med school? You graduate, but does everyone graduate in med school? No. Are there every year a few people who do what?
Drop out.
Drop out again. Okay? Drop out. So after you're done with med school, you have to do something called a residency. Now, if you're good, look, now this is just the truth. I'm not bragging. But to get into the harder residencies like surgery, you have to have better grades and better test scores yet again. And the people who don't have such good grades, they go into what? Family practice and pediatrics. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying. They do. Right? The old joke is this. What do you call the guy who graduates last in med school? Doctor. She got it. Okay, so after residency, if you want to get even better, surgical residency, if you want to do a specialty, you go into what's called a fellowship, like bariatrics. So I was talking to somebody a couple of years ago, and they said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a weight loss surgeon." They said, "That's really amazing." I was like, "Yeah, you know, that's what I do." And he says, "No, it's really amazing." I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, how many bariatric surgeons are there?" I said, "I don't know, probably 2,500 worldwide." And he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "Do you realize 7 billion people in the world, and there's only 2,500 people that can do what you do?" And I went, "Well, shit, since you put it that way." Feel pretty good, you know? So then, as you climb this, and remember, I have to make the grades, take the test, get tested. I still get recertified. This is where everyone says, "Oh my gosh, it's a struggle. It's so hard. It takes what? Dedication, time." Because every step of the way, somebody can do what?
Drop out.
I had people drop out of my residency. No, not every resident goes into a fellowship. So, let's say I wanted to be really obnoxious and decide I'm going to be the best I can be. So I put Dr. V at the top of the pyramid. Think about that. So now, nothing against my other surgeons, but they're all good surgeons. And I said, what are other people doing? What can I do that no one else is doing? And the answer is what? Education. So I don't walk around saying I'm the best weight loss surgeon. I say this. Now listen very closely. When it comes to patient education for weight loss surgery, who's number one?
You. Dr. B.
That sounds great when y'all say it. So number one for education. Is that true?
Yes.
What does that mean? That means late nights I'm working on my laptop. I'm on book number 12. I create online courses. I edit my own videos. I post everything up. I had to learn how to do my Shopify store, sell my t-shirts. I had to learn how to do Kajabi to produce my online courses. I didn't go to parties on weekends. I don't go. I felt guilty watching the Super Bowl this year. It was a good game though, but you know what I'm saying? Like late nights, weekends, I don't take weekends off. I don't take nights off. Does that make sense? And that's when people look at me and they think, oh, he works so hard. Y'all got it?
Yep.
If you got it, if you want to be number one, it's hard work, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now it's easy for me to say number one, education. But if there was some other surgeon who started doing education, was better at it than me, then I get to say, hey, I'm the number one surgeon for education who's Asian.
You get it first too.
And sometimes you just add modifiers to make yourself number one. Some of y'all have to add a bunch, you know. Number one real estate agent in Albuquerque who's female, blind, named Kara. So you're number one. That's it. There she is, right there. Okay. So people see me working this hard, taking the test and doing all this stuff, and they say, man, that's a lot of struggle, that's a lot of effort. Kudos to you. I don't think you could do it. So they think that the pain is up here. They think it's hard to get up. But I'm telling you that's not the answer. The answer is this. The pain is here. The pain is staying average. And I'm going to show you why. The average American lives paycheck to paycheck. Is that true? Mm-hmm. I promise you it is. Paycheck to paycheck. Most of your friends are one missed paycheck away from losing their house, losing their rent. Is that true? Yes, it's true. They say that the average 65-year-old, when you're sitting ready to retire, the average savings is how much? $60,000. You worked all these years and you turn 65 and you have $60,000 to saved up. Question, can you live on $60,000?
No, for a year. For a year,
If that much.
That's right. You're not going to live 30 years on $60,000 saved up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But that's what the average person does. I'm going to work to 65 and then retire. Doesn't work. Make sense? The average person, the divorce rate is over 50% now. Which means what? The average person is in a relationship that they're not happy in. And just because your grandparents stayed together for 40 years doesn't mean they were happy. Just because your parents have been married 25 years doesn't mean they're not going to get divorced next year. Does that make sense? So most Americans are really in unhappy relationships. 80% of Americans are in jobs they have no passion for. They're in jobs they are disengaged from. They don't really want to be there. Hence, oh my God, I can't believe it, tomorrow's Monday. Hump Wednesday and TGIF Friday. TGI Friday, which all those mean what? I hate my
Job.
That's it. I hate my job. I operate on what day? Monday. What if I showed up on Monday and said, oh my God, I can't believe it's Monday. I want to go back to bed. I'm a little bit hungover. What would y'all say? It's like, no, not me, Dr. V, not today. When I show up on Monday, what do? Hey, ready to go, excited. Yes? Yes?
Yes.
But that's not the average American. You got it? The pain is here in being average. And every one of you have experienced this. At some point, If your family's fighting over grandma because nobody can afford to put her in a nursing home, that's painful. If you're worried right now because you don't know how to pay for your kids' college education, that's painful. If you're 64 and you realize you can't retire, that's the pain. When I was growing up and we were immigrants, my brother came over later and he wanted to play soccer. And it was hard for my dad. You know why he couldn't play soccer? Cleats were $100. We didn't have, in 1985, what, 86, like $100 was a lot of money. He didn't have it. So my brother had to borrow cleats for a year, and then my dad made the money and got his own cleats. But that's pain. All of y'all experience it. Kids' birthday parties, all y'all experience at Christmas time. When you way overspend, and the pain comes January 1st when the credit cards are due. All of y'all have this. Now listen, this is sad. I'm not making fun of anybody. But when you go on your Facebook feed, somebody's going to post something like, oh my God, my car broke down. They want $1,000 for my new transmission, and I don't know where the money's coming from. I guess I'll just leave it in God's hands. I got news for you. Guess what? God don't care about your transmission. He's too busy creating the universe. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Let me ask you this question. If Dr. Vuong's transmission broke down, what would he do? I would not get a new transmission. I'd get a new car. Now, when you think about that way, there's not much suffering up there, is there? If I want to go to Australia to meet patients, to talk and give talks, I just go. If I want to go to meet Matthew McConaughey this weekend, it was painful writing that check last year, but I did it. But now I get to go. Does that make sense? So, average basically means you're unhappy, you're not engaged in your job, you don't have fulfilling relationships, you're not taking the relationships you want to take, you're not retiring on the amount of money you want to retire, you're worried about the next bill, you're worried about how to get your kids to college, you're worried about how you're going to pay for your nursing home and all sorts of stuff. This is the pain. Okay? So what we're going to do real quick is say, this is not Dr. V, but this is your weight loss journey. This is average. 2/3 of Americans are obese. And when you're trying to make it to what? Surgery, what will the average person tell you? Don't do that. Go to the gym with me. Try another diet. But you're trying to escape up to surgery. Now, everyone who decides to go to surgery, will some drop out?
Yes.
Most will drop out.
69%.
69% will drop out. According to our numbers, only 31% of y'all make it to surgery. And then after surgery, successful or not. Okay? Now, as you're going up through this process to success, here, watch now, pay attention now. Everybody who's watching you are saying shit like, oh, that's so hard. I couldn't do it. You're so dedicated. You're so focused. I wish I had your discipline. Which sounds a lot like the same shit I got. Does that make sense? And what you realize one day is when you've had your nose down to the grindstone, eating what you're supposed to eat, drinking what you're supposed to drink, working on your finances, getting that second job, leaving that abusive marriage, telling your mother-in-law off, going back to school, getting rid of all your negative friends, cleaning out all your pantry, doing all that hard stuff. One day you're sitting at the top and you say, my God, that's wonderful. And you look back down at all your friends and and you raise your hand. Say yes if you know. You're looking at your friends right now and you know they're all in pain.
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
You know they're all suffering. They're suffering with their diabetes, they can't walk, their sleep apnea machine, etc. And they're saying the same shit to you. I wish I was as disciplined as you. I could never do that. Like, that's right. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Now my job is to get y'all up. I gotta make sure she doesn't drop out. I gotta make sure you keep coming to group. I gotta make sure you become better at your business. I gotta make sure people get back on track, stay on track in bad relationships. Because I know how good it is at the top. When you get up here, I challenge some of y'all to go with me next year to the Oscars. To go with me to Australia. I challenge y'all to travel, see Paris, do the things you want to do. Because this is why you did the journey. The shitty part is this, is when you're down here average, you think it's okay. All your friends think it's okay because this is just the way we are, Dr. V. I'm all right. I'm doing okay. You're doing okay until your battery goes out in your truck. Dr. Vuong here. If you like this video, I hope you will come learn from me live in person at my first ever Dr. V weekend workshop. I'm calling it Unleash the Sleeve Within. All right? So it's in Albuquerque, March 23rd through the 25th. There's a link to it below the video. I hope to see you there. Cool? Bye.